by Charles Perrault. Once upon a time there was a little girl who was as pretty as could be. Her mother and her grandmother loved her very much. Her grandmother made her a red hood, and it looked so becoming on the little girl that everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. One day her mother baked a batch of cookies. "Red Riding Hood," she said, "Mother is sick. Will you take her these cookies and a pot of fresh butter?" Red Riding Hood set out at once. Her grandmother lived in the next village, beyond the woods. As she was going through the woods, she met a wolf. The wolf would have liked to eat her, but he didn't dare, because there were woodsmen working nearby. He thought of a plan.
"Where are you going, my dear?" asked the wolf.
"To see my grandmother,"
said Red Riding Hood.
"I have cookies and a pot of fresh butter for her."
"Have you far to go?"
asked the wolf.
"Yes,"
said Red Riding Hood.
"her house is way over there, the first one past the woods."
"I'll go see her too,"
said the wolf.
"I'll take this path, and you take the other path. We'll see who gets there first."
The wolf ran fast, and he took a shortcut. Red Riding Hood took the long way. She picked some flowers, she sang some songs, she chased some butterflies. The wolf came to the grandmother's door, while Red Riding Hood was still far away. He knocked twice.
"Who's there?"
called grandmother.
"It's Red Riding Hood,"
said the wolf in a Red Riding Hood voice.
"I've brought you some cookies and a pot of fresh butter."
Grandmother was in bed, for she was sick.
"Open the door and come in,"
she called. The wolf came in. He hadn't eaten for 3 days, and he was very hungry. He ate the grandmother very quickly. Then he wrapped himself in grandmother's shawl. He climbed into grandmother's bed. Soon, Red Riding Hood came knocking at the door.
"Who's there?"
called the wolf in a grandmotherly voice. He sounded hoarse, but Red Riding Hood thought that grandmother must have had a bad cold.
"It's Red Riding Hood,"
she said.
"I've brought you some cookies and a pot of fresh butter."
"Open the door and come in,"
said the wolf, as sweetly as he could. The wolf pulled the covers up to his ears.
"Put your basket on the table and come here to me,"
said the wolf. Red Riding Hood came closer. She said,
"Grandmother, what long arms you have."
"The better to hug you with, my dear,"
said the wolf. She said,
"Grandmother, what big ears you have."
"The better to hear you with, my dear,"
said the wolf. She said,
"Grandmother, what big eyes you have."
"The better to see you with, my dear,"
said the wolf. She said,
"Grandmother, what big teeth you have."
"The better to eat you with,"
said the wolf, and eat her he did. But he howled so loud in his true wolf voice that a woodsman heard him. The woodsman ran in with his axe. He hacked hard at the wolf, and the wolf split right down the middle. Out hopped Red Riding Hood, as good as new. Out stepped her grandmother, looking surprised. They put the wolf in the garbage, and that was the end of him. Then they invited the woodsman to sit down. There was plenty of buttered cookies for the 3 of them. They had a very good time. The end.